And I did also notice coming down the fire track there's loads and loads of sphagnum moss, and that'll make an excellent bed. So we'll get back to you in a minute. I'm going to apologise because it is starting to get a little bit dark in here. It is taking longer than what I thought, but what I wanted to show you was you can see the original raised platform, and then you can now see that I've just been throwing pine buffs on top of that, and it's probably a good foot high, and you want that for the insulation. And then on top, what I've started to do is put down the moss, and you're simply taking that off in large turfs, and then we're rolling it across the top of the pine buffs, and hopefully when you're on there sleeping, that's going to flatten that all down, and you should have a nice comfortable bed, so you won't, oh, that could have been tea, and you won't get, you know, sticks or needles or anything stuck in. Now you could at this point take it all off, like I said, and then have your fire underneath. Last thing at night, put earth etc over there, have some rocks in the fire so they heat up nice as well, and then all night they'll just retain the heat, and that heat will radiate up onto that platform, and then we use our little tarp, or the little poncho rather, that I've got in the bag, and that simply goes across, and that'll keep the rain from us. And this is actually a good area to store wood, etc. So if you are going to be here for a few days, then you've got that area underneath there where you can put firewood and things that you want to keep, so it's out of the way. So I'll get on with it. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'll take the camera up to where we're getting the moss, and I'll show you exactly how we're taking that off the ground. Right, okay, here we are. We're back up on this fire break, and you can see all the moss and grass etc that's been around, and you can see where we're stripping it back. And if you have a look at John here, you can see all he's doing is putting his hands in underneath and gently pulling it back, and he's now basically getting himself like a great big roll of this stuff. And because it's been nice weather over the last few days, this stuff is bone dry. It's absolutely fantastic for shelter building. And again, it doesn't matter which shelter you build, I'd highly recommend that you get this on top of it for thatching. This would work particularly well in an A-frame shelter, and we'll maybe do a demonstration of one of them at some point in the future. But for just now, it is starting to get extremely, it's still light out here, but in the forest itself it is starting to fade a light, so we want to batter on and do this because I've still got the fire to light. Okay, so I'll catch you in 5. Right, back again. Okay, it's happy days now because all that thatching's on, that moss has been doubled over there, and it is actually, I've just lay on it and it holds the weight perfectly. I can't feel any sticks or anything underneath it, so that is absolutely perfect. And there's so many options with doing something like that, because if you are here for a prolonged time, you could put a spar from that tree over to that one and a ridge pole down the back of those 2 trees, and basically then make yourself like a teepee, and you can just keep adding and keep adding and keep adding to that, and then on the outside, and I promise you that would be a fantastic shelter. I'm not going to put the ridge poles in that tonight because there's many other things I'm going to do, but I am going to leave that shelter and then continue to build on it over the weeks, just to show you what I mean. But what I am going to do now is I'm going to put my tarp up, or my poncho rather, to give you an idea, and that's simply just to keep the rain off me. I mean, I'm not going to get a heavy shower of rain coming through the canopy anyway, but nevertheless I want to be dry, okay, just in case. Tarps up, you can see the lights rapidly disappearing, but you can see the idea. I've put the tarp up there, and basically it's going to keep the rain off me, and I'm going to be lying up on that bed of moss there. I'm going to put my feet down the bottom, and I'm going to have my head at this end, and you know, if it does rain I'm not going to get wet, and hopefully there's enough thatching on there to keep me warm, and all I'm going to be in is that heat sheets bivvy bag, and we'll find out if it's any good. Okay, now we're going to batter on with the fire now. I think that's enough for the shelter. I want to get that fire cracked up, and then I want to go away and find some water. So I'll get back to you in a few minutes. Cheers. Okay, fire. Okay, apologies about the light, but it is starting to get dark. So I'll quickly go through the contents of that little bag. What we've got here is a little waterproof bag. It's some cotton wool in a Ziploc bag. I have some tampons. They make excellent fire lighters, and they also come wrapped in their own little waterproof sort of plastic thing, so they're brilliant. They're really good to have in your kit. I've got some bits of rubber inner tube. They burn really well. Wet fire tinder, I'm sure you've all seen them. I use that as a last ditch effort. Vaseline for the cotton wool, a fire steel, and I've also got the end of a file, and I've put an angle on it, or rather I never, Chris did, and basically that makes an excellent fire steel. But it also works with the flint, so when you strike the flint it produces a spark as well. So all round that is an excellent little bit of kit to have in a fire lighting kit, because it gives you the options to do different things. Okay, so what I've done here is on the fire itself is I've dug a little pit and I've lined it with some dry wood. I would like to do it better, but I think we're running out of light and we've got tons of stuff to get through, so I'm going to batter on, and like I said, I'm lucky enough, I'm just going to get this fire lit, and then John's going to take over and we're going to go and do some water purification. So with the cotton wool and the Vaseline, what I simply do is take the cotton wool, rub it on the Vaseline, and set a few of the cotton buds up on the wood, and that's probably enough there. I've got a little pile of sticks in that across there that'll get the fire going. I just merely wanted to demonstrate that you can, everything I had in that bag is exactly what I'm using. I'm not cheating, not trying to fool anyone. It can be done, and I just want to show you that. Fire steel, you can either, cotton wool ball gone. Fire steel, you can either do it that way, or you can use the back of your knife. It's entirely up to yourself, whatever you prefer. I'll use the back of the knife just to demonstrate the foul niven. It is an excellent sparker with a fire steel. Okay, so once we've got that going, that's not going to go anywhere because it has the Vaseline on it. And what we're looking for here is the three elements of fire: is heat, fuel and oxygen. There's a big gap underneath the wood there which is providing oxygen. That's, at the moment, is the fuel and the heat. And then what we're wanting to do is, my preferred method is just to sort of hold a little bunch of sticks over the top, make sure it doesn't go out, and hopefully that'll catch up. If we give it a second, that'll catch up. If you drop the sticks on like that, the chances are it is going to go out, because then you smother the flame. But with a bit of luck, that should just go up. Not even going to try blowing on that or nothing, I'm just going to leave it, because that was a bit hasty, but we should get there. There we go. There we go. Whew. Sweat pressure was on there, and you can see the flame. It's going to take a little bit of time to come onto that. I never want it to drop the sticks on. I prefer just holding them until they catch, until the flame jumps up, and then just lay them on the top.